Alex Hormozi is a legend in the personal brand space. He was at the top of his game when he then announced that he was going to completely shift his content strategy. Instead of short, snappy videos, he's going to do long form, deep business content. Now, personally, I found this quite surprising for a number of reasons. Number one, the business content he's put out is questionable to say the least. Second of all, this guy has already reached 7.3 million subscribers. That's 3 million on YouTube, on Instagram, 2.4 million on YouTube, 883,000 on TikTok, 645,000 on Twitter, and 388,000 on LinkedIn. Now, here's the challenge with his approach. He's already built up this massive following, and as he's already said, that his experience has been that when he attracts a follower because of, say, relationship or mindset content, that's the only thing that they're actually interested in. And this is true. In fact, we see this on LinkedIn all the time because LinkedIn is actually a much better place to test this. People on LinkedIn are much more fixated on singular types of content. If you're posting about, say, engineering content, an analyst or an HR expert is not going to be interested. So we see quite often people building up their profiles and building up, they're getting into the 40, 50, sometimes 200,000 or more followers. And then what they do is they shift their content, similar to what Hormozi is trying to do here. And what we see in a microcosm on LinkedIn is going to show us what's going to happen to Hormozi. Now, what happens is, in order to get these large followings, you've got to put general content out there. You're putting this generic content that everybody kind of feels good about and will engage in and give you a follow. Now, this means that you're putting mindset, you're putting productivity, you're putting just any type of sort of feel-good content out there. Now, here's the thing. When you're putting that type of content out there, you are limiting yourself from being able to talk about anything specific. This is why. When you take that type of content, that wide-ranging content, and then you try to drill down and provide something specific, you're going to find that you fall completely flat. This is why it happens. If you've got, say, 1 million followers, but only about 100,000 of them are true hardcore business folks. Let's say founders of actual businesses doing at least $1 million in revenue, which is, really what Hormozi says he's targeting. In fact, he says he's targeting people with 8 figures in revenue. The challenge is the content Hormozi has been putting out is anything but that. He has not put any content out that really speaks to people who are making 8 figures in revenue. Now, when he makes that shift, let's say that he's got 1 million followers just for the sake of easy math. Now, when he puts out that very specific business content, 90% of the people following him won't engage. Not only will they not engage because it's not directed at them, but if you're putting out very specific business content, the type of business content that gets business owners to take action, call you, follow up with you, schedule with you, that type of content is going to actually be not understandable to the average person. And in fact, a lot of people who are, say, employees or just entrepreneurs are likely going to be turned off by it. Because let's be honest, a lot of the content that a 8-figure or even 7-figure business owner needs is not the type of content that the average employee is really going to align with. It has to do with making really hard decisions. It has to do with building your business in a way that may not look as happy-go-lucky as some of the content that Hormozi has put out there. Now, Hormozi is a branding genius. What he's done is he's taken all of the insecurities of the modern male, especially the 20 to maybe mid-30s male, but especially the 20s, the males in their 20s. And he's combine them all into this super package. I mean, look at who he is. He's this guy who's coming in. I'm young. I've made millions of dollars. Look at my big muscles. Look at my beautiful wife. He's always with her or speaking about her, because what is he doing here? He is hitting on every male insecurity. He is literally Gary Vaynerchuk and Andrew Tate combined, and boom, now you've got yourself Alex Hormozi. He is riding the wave of this, and it's not going to last. And I think what we've seen is through his acquisition of School, which is a completely different story, because the way it's been portrayed by Hormozi, I think, is quite different than the reality, knowing insiders in the space. He is now recognizing that even selling low-level business courses, he's been trying to push these events in Las Vegas, even selling those low-level business courses to low-level entrepreneurs, and we're talking sub $500,000 in revenue entrepreneurs. He's having a lot of resistance in doing that. Now, my company has a program that does work with entrepreneurs between 100,000 to $1 million in revenue. And many times now through the sales process, we've run into people who are stuck in Hormozi's sales cycle. And one thing becomes super clear. They don't know what they're going to get from their engagement with Hormozi. Because what Hormozi is doing is he's selling personality. He hasn't gotten clear on what is the value that he creates. He sells a dream, which is, we will invest in your 8-figure business and help take you way beyond. Now, here's the rub. Have you seen any testimonials from people who have done this with Hormozi? Why is he not leading with testimonials of success? There's something that's not adding up here. And I think that one of the things that we're finding is he has invested so much money in personal branding, that now he's recognizing he can't actually sell what he came to sell. So at this point in his career, at this point in his rise, he recognizes that, look, he can go down the road of being more of like a Tim Ferriss or a Lewis Howes or something like that, because that's really who his direct competitors are at this point. Except someone like Tim Ferriss is actually more embedded in the business community than Hormozi is. Hormozi has just said, look at me, look at me, look at me. And he's put a lot of content out there, but he doesn't really have the results to prove it. Now, I know he's put his name on buildings and he's done a number of other things that are very brand oriented, but he just simply doesn't have the social proof other than a legion of young men out there, screaming his praises, to be able to go out and actually sell the things that he's going to need to sell to justify the investment that he's making in media. So what we're seeing right now is actually a desperate attempt by Hormozi to make it look strategic, but the reality is his approach has failed him. He's recognized that he's just become a media personality and can't sell through this channel. So now he is attempting to make a shift, and my prediction is that he is going to fail. We're going to see him rely primarily on paid advertisements going forward, because that's going to be the only way that he's going to be able to get his message to target the people he needs to target. Either that, or he is going to create completely new channels, completely new YouTube channels, completely new Twitter, Instagram, and I don't know, possibly even LinkedIn, which is going to be hard to do, but he is going to have to create new ones in order to push the content that he is now saying he is going to put out there. Either that, or his entire business model is going to shift to sell to lower end users, lower end, business folks. So it's going to be entry-level courses, how to build a $100 million offer, which, as we all know, if you've read that book, there's nothing in there about building a $100 million offer. Basically, he's giving you sales tactics on how to create an offer that's easy to sell. And his big reveal is give a money-back guarantee. I'll give another video on that, but by the time you're giving a money back guarantee, you've already lost the game. So Hormozi is going to be a beautiful public experiment for us to see that the influencer strategy does not translate into any high value offers, period. He's not going to be able to attract the types of businesses that he needs to invest in because those business owners are not watching this motivational drivel that he puts out. He's not going to be able to attract the 7-figure business owners who really need true hard-hitting tactics to get them to 8 figures because they don't have time for that crap either. And now when he actually starts putting this content out that might be targeted at some of these end users, he's going to find that that content just tanks. This is my prediction. Watch it happen. And yeah, I'd love to hear your comments. Drop them below.